Welcome, welcome. My name is Salon Jellin and I'm here with Donna Markwell, and we're recording this little information video really to share a little bit from our learnings and experience with the work that we did together in having Takara Markwell, Donna Markwell's 14-year-old daughter, returned to her mother from the Department of Child Protection in Kaurna Nation, Adelaide, where she was abducted and held hostage for, was it 37 days, Donna?
Yeah, day 37 we got her back.
Yeah. And yeah, it's been a big ordeal for Donna and Takara, and a massive learning curve to have to deal with this department that is absolutely polished professionals at stealing children. That's the business that they're in. They're doing it every day in and day out, and they've got many mechanisms to be able to attack the character and the credibility of anyone that they decide to target and victimize. And then a whole system put in place, including the youth and family courts, to continue to disempower and victimize their targets, to justify their theft and hostage holding of these children. It's really child trafficking. It's state-funded, government-run child trafficking is what's going on across all of the so-called child protection departments in all the First Nations. So, one of the things that Donna did differently from the beginning was calling it out for what it was in really plain terms, common language that we the people, understand what that means, rather than using the corporate policies terms. So where they abduct your child, they'll say that's a forced removal, and they'll blanket label parents as unsafe without having conducted an honest and open and transparent investigation at all. They'll tell the children that too. What they're actually telling the children is so damaging to the child and their sense of safety and security and identity in the world. They come from their family where they feel safe and loved, and then have strangers telling them that no, that wasn't safety at all, in this new weird version of reality where they're being managed by complete strangers. Apparently that's where they're safe.
And that's classed as being in care. No, that's out of care. That's with strangers. Being with strangers is not in care. In care is when you're with the good parents. And the children want to go back to their parents. They tell them over and over again. So if what the children want seem to go against what DCP want, or whatever child trafficking organisation you're dealing with, there's Department of Community Services and all other names they like to use. Well, they just stop listening to the children then, but they'll listen to the children when they want to listen. So it's all this cherry picking of what the children say, and they try and force. They tried to force me to use their dialogue, and I just did the old, so they can just talk to the side of my head, because lawfully it was kidnapped, and lawfully and legally, and even with all their own legislations, it was nothing short of kidnap and holding hostage. And this is what they're doing to the children. And we would like to today launch a support group. So this is why we're doing today's chit chat. We would like to launch a support group for all of the families who are dealing with their own child trafficking department. We'd like to support the parents who are going through this, whether it's anonymously, so they don't get recorded, or if they would like to come on and tell their story, whether they're in the middle of it or at the end of it. We'd like to support the children who are in it, who have come through it, and the ripple effect of how it affects the families, grandparents, aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters, pets. Even the pets miss them so much. So we'd like to offer support group for people who are going through that in a Zoom format to start with. And we're planning to reach out to the the Australia Project, TAP, the Australian Project, and we'd love to link in with them. But we just want to get started first and get maybe some people who are happy to tell their story. And as you know, we will eventually pull stuff together and do a documentary around my case and other cases that have other cases that will help expose the truth. So that's what we're planning to do.
Yeah, I think this is the point we're at, where we need to remove the shame and secrecy, because that's what, the child trafficking department and the system workers and the courts, everyone conspires to try and shut the parents up and shut the parents down and have them be in so much fear and so much trauma that they don't feel safe to speak. And for that reason, they're able to keep all their victims isolated and separated. And we need to remove that so that we can be talking openly and honestly about what's really going on, and having honest reviews of, all of these matters, and getting support around the parents and focusing on lawful remedy. So actually finding solutions, because for some of the families, there are actually real needs and, unmet needs where supports need to be put in place, sometimes then there does need to be an intervention. That's what Mama Mel said, when she was going through everything she went through, and they just stole her baby 2 hours after she was born. She said, I did need help, but I didn't need to have my baby stolen and put into a pedophile ring, so it's about us being able to address the real issues. So talk honestly. It's not to pretend that there are no real serious issues, where families do need support and intervention, that is definitely part of this conversation. But we have to be focused on, our shared humanity and caring about the children and what's genuinely best for them and their families, and creating these pathways to healing and reunification. And that's, really what the conversation that I want to help hold is, how do we, the people, all come together to make it all of our shared responsibility? Child protection is our shared responsibility. So let's get together and compare notes. We'll see how everyone's being treated and being managed, and, what the children are being told and what the parents are being told and what the grandparents are being told. We'll all compare notes, see how it works, and together we'll be able to give lawful direction to these system workers via the honestly informed will of we the people, who are in declared, treaty or alliance, whatever it is, with the real original First Nations, that actually hold the sovereignty that gives us the power together to be real world free and self-determining. We don't have to.
We want First Nation people to join us, of course. We would love that. We would love that very much. And we also want people who haven't been affected by DCP and have children or grandchildren, because you'll learn dialogue that can stop your children from being taken in the first place, and that is very important. So that as well is in the documentary Before We Proceed, which is on YouTube, Return to Kara. There's a 2-part documentary there, and that's dialogue that you can say to them so they don't take your child. And then I've got 2 public press releases and my affidavit, which is public, so people can learn from what kind of writings I submitted to Youth Court. And this is the kind of pathway, of course, we really have set a precedent with this. And it wasn't easy. It's not easy to, when you're in grief, to do all of that stuff. So we want to support the other mothers and other families who are going through this, and grandparents especially, because they play a big role in this and are often underestimated with their power to help. So we would love, because we know that DCP are professional character assassinators. Boy, oh boy, do they know how to destroy your self-esteem. So no judgment in this forum. There will be no judgment. If you want to read out your court report and stuff like that, we already know the lies that DCP will be plucking out of thin air. So don't worry. There will be no judgment here if you want to chat with us about what they're saying, because look, it's also about rebutting it point by point. So let's expose it. Don't be embarrassed. Like Solly really saved me when we were reading through the court report, and you already got your guts hanging out because they've stolen your child, and then they write these disgusting court reports, and I felt like just a disgusting, dirty person by the end, even though it wasn't true. And Solly just said, the shame is theirs. Don't hold the shame. And that was the best thing you could have ever said to me, Solly, was the shame is not mine. The shame was theirs. Give it back to them. And so I did, and I felt really empowered from that. And it stopped affecting me. It would just become words on a paper that were lies. Don't take it to heart, because they're lies. It's not you. But when we were going through that, we reflected on how many people would, of course, reading these lying reports, would just abandon someone in the middle of this. So we understand if you've accidentally sort of abandoned someone who's going through this, we understand. But, let's try and reframe that and move forward with support. We want to build people up with their confidence again. Your confidence takes a big bashing. Your self-confidence, your self-esteem takes a big bashing when you go through this. And the biggest silencer is really the grief that you're in, and they know how to capitalize on that pain as well. It seems like they've never been told that they're kidnapping, hostage holding criminals before. So it's time that we probably, like Solly was saying from the beginning, we start to use the right words and simple words that we can all understand.
Yeah, that we make it our conversation. We the people, it's our conversation about real child protection, and what that actually looks like in practical terms, and what that means to us. That we don't have paid strangers that have all got a vested interest in continuing to steal children. We don't have them dominating and dictating and telling us what real child protection looks like. They work for us. And if they don't work for us and they don't follow the will of the people, then they're criminals, and they're going to be put on public notice and held to full account. That's where we're at.
Individually, they will individually be held to account. And that can go right from the magistrates in the youth court, right up to Supreme Court judges who are not following the law. And the like people like Rachel Sanderson, who's supposed to be the Minister for Child Protection, haven't heard a word from her, haven't heard a word from Kathy Taylor, called Joyce Clark on the 29th of October, and DCP Complaints Line said, just wait for a call back. Still haven't had a call back from Joyce Clark. So this is the criminality and the hiding, because criminals hide. Criminals conceal. The police don't even give you their first names, or don't even give you any names, even names and numbers they won't. The sheriffs at the youth court would not even give me a name that I could say, oh, hey, Samantha, or hey, Mary. Wouldn't even give me a name that I could address them by. So I just called them, hey, you, hey, somebody, I think I called them, or hey, nobody. Yeah. So they're so guilty. They're running with their own guilt as well. That's the same for the guards in prison. They don't want to give out their names either. Very anonymous. Professional abusers want to remain anonymous. Criminals conceal. Yeah. That was one of Peter's favourite lines. Yeah, criminals conceal, don't they? Yeah. And so we're dealing with all this. We want to blow the lid off it. If anyone's got a really good name for the group, please tell us. What are we thinking of calling it? Just Child Protection Support Group at this point. Yeah, Child Protection Support Group. Because there's all different names for child protection. There's Department of Community Services up here in New South Wales. That's DOCS. There's DCP in other places. That's Department for Child Protection. There's FAMS or family. There used to be SA family. They love to just use their little acronyms and hide themselves. So, yeah, child protection sort of covers the whole gamut of them. Good. Yeah, I just wanted to just quickly say, Donna, as well as, dealing with those people that are in the falsely assumed positions of authority within the system, so the hierarchy and the top dogs, the responsibility for real child protection and for following the real law, which is the honestly informed will of we the people of the Sovereign First Nations, that applies to absolutely every system worker, right down to your receptionist, and the people that
Yeah, the people that are on the front line saying, oh, we're just following orders, that's no protection from your personal responsibility and liability. So once you're given notice, you need to do what is right. And if you don't, you will be held to account as a criminal, because you're working for a criminal organisation. So you need to do the right thing, following the real law, to actually help we the people to get the results of real child protection and helping families to healing and reunification and to being treated with humanity and kindness and dignity and respect.
Yeah, because in the end, all we spoke to was receptionists and we never got a call back. So did they pass the message on? We don't know. Don't know. Did they just not call back? So now they're going to get the receptionist in trouble because these, you know, people who supposedly hold offices didn't even call us back or didn't write to us or didn't do anything or just wrote to us so they could block us because they don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to know about the truth. They love just pretending in their facade, fake, you know, pantomime, really, isn't it? Just all an act. It's a big pantomime.
It is. It's a big corporate fraud. It is a big corporate fraud.
So we're really looking forward to support group. This is a bit of a lengthy video that we're doing now. We can do shorter ones. We're thinking every Wednesday at 12 o'clock, we can try and get together within a Zoom and people can, we'll do it. I sort of thought that what came to my mind when I was going through it all, I thought we need like an AA, like a NA, you know, like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous support group, but for DCP. So we need like DCP Anonymous support group. So yeah, we need literally this child protection coming in, debrief, because people need to tell their stories, like you said, Solly. The silence has gone on too long and we need to stop bowing to this ridiculous, fraudulent system.
That's run by pedophiles. It's run by pedophiles. We know that from the court-ordered suppression orders, you know, protecting the identity. So we know that, and now it's about what are we going to do about that? Let's get together and talk about what we're going to do about it. So Wednesday at 12 o'clock, is that going to be our central time, Donna, or are you thinking that's where you are?
Yeah, that's right. We're all on different timelines, aren't we? Well, we might make it your central time because then WA will be pretty comfortable coming in then as well. Okay. So I'll be, New South Wales will be 12:30, Adelaide time will be 12, and then whatever it is, a couple of hours back from that for Western Australia time.
Okay, and you're wanting to start this child protection support group is for women in the first instance? Is that
if you wanted to? It doesn't have to be, not necessarily for women, I suppose. I was thinking about that and I thought, I think we will eventually have to break off into other groups. There'll be like, because even Takara, I think she'd love to talk to other children who have been through the system and support each other with that. Mel and I did try and start that, but it just didn't get momentum. But there is like a child group. There'll eventually probably be like all facilitated and you know, just general chit chat, just for care. Yeah, but no, men and women, because sometimes it's the men are doing just as much effort as the women are in this as well. So yeah, let's just make it gender open. Okay. But if anyone is interested in telling their story, even if they do want to de-identify, they can come on and not show their screen and have a sort of a de-identified name, but they can still share their story. Like you said, Solly, as long as it's factual and not all made up, as long as it is factual, we're happy to assist. So look, we really hope that we can help blow the lid off this and smash this glass ceiling and use my case as a precedent and get in there and get some justice done, because it's this is all ridiculous, actually, what they're doing.
Yeah, it is. It's time to change our line of authority and come back to the real law of the sacred First Nations land, which is to protect our children as sacred and to protect our families and to work together as strong, connected communities.
And we have superior jurisdiction. Let's just stand in our power, stand in your superior jurisdiction. You know, so what I wanted to do, Solly and I were chatting yesterday a little bit. We'd love to run like classes to help your performance in class and stuff like that. We've got some really key players who can help, even myself. So it's nearly like literally like acting classes, because you've got to perform. It's called your performance. When you're in court representing yourself, it's called your performance. So we want to empower you to do that. It's not that hard. You just have to learn what words to say. It's like learning your lines, navigate through it. So yeah, we'd love to help empower you with that. And when people are ready to stand in their own power, we can really, really help you, because that's definitely what I had to do under the guidance of great divine creator, our great God, and the guidance of the team around me. I was able to stand in my own power on Ghana Nation, when I was on Ghana Nation, acknowledging what nation I was standing on. So, you know, so it's real simple stuff to learn, actually. It's not that hard, but it kind of is, because when you're wrathed with grief, everything's hard. So there's that kind of, it's not that hard, but it kind of is. So we can help you out with all of that.
Awesome. Thank you, Donna. That's your department. I wasn't that great. I just, the last time they abducted me and I had to speak for myself, I pretty much just cried. I was I was not strong, but I still, you know, was able to, exactly as you said, surrender to our divine creator and just speak the truth from my heart for myself. And that's what we all need to, you know, have the confidence to be able to do that.
Because we know, like you've said before, like we've both said before, that the lawyers are the slave managers. And I can tell you now, there is no way I would have Shakara back if I had a lawyer. Yeah. I believe that 100%.
No way. They'd still be being adjourned. They'd still be stringing you along.
They'd have their 3-month order. She'd just be stuck with them because they'd have their 3-month order.
Yeah.
Because a lawyer can't stand in court and say, excuse me, Judge Adiz, and excuse me, DCP and Crown, fake Crown, how can you have impartial judgment when you've all got financial profit from this matter? And their faces just went, they couldn't even hold professional, it just went, their face just, their whole professional face just fell off. The 3 of them were looking at me, and I was looking at all of them, and then I looked at the judge when I finished saying it. Like, how can they answer that? A lawyer can't say that, because the judge would say, well, you've got a financial gain from this matter too, haven't you, sunshine? So you better shut your face and sit down. Only a person representing themselves can say that. And I said heaps of stuff. They're saying, oh, Takara, she's going to need like a therapeutic input, because basically she misses her mother too much because she's been out of home for like over 30 days and never spoke to her. Oh, she, you know, and I say, well, you're causing, I said, excuse me, but you're causing the mental health. A lawyer wouldn't pep up and say that in the middle of them talking.
That's right.
So these things need to be said by the parent, by the mother.
Yeah, and yes, and to have that support around you so that you know that your community is standing with you, that you, even though you're there, because the court, in the family and youth courts, it's horrifying that they actually strip the parents from all of their support. So they don't even.
You go in. All I could take in was the Aboriginal liaison officer. I couldn't take my, it's called a Mackenzie friend. You're supposed to be able to take a support person in. No, couldn't take nothing in.
Yeah.
Couldn't take nothing in.
Yeah, which is unlawful. That's unlawful, completely unlawful in and of itself.
Or can't record it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, we'll be able to talk.
So let's chit chat about what they've done to you. Yep. What have they done to you? Write it down in document form, private messages if you want to chat with us. Please, let's chat, shall we?
Yeah, I'll put our email addresses underneath, so those that would like to receive an invite, you know, to the Wednesday Child Protection Support Group.
And there's a good Facebook that this guy kicked off for child protection as well, exposing child protection or something or other it was, that he's gone pretty well with that. He's got like nearly 100 people there. And the other one is that we might start a Telegram group. I might kick off a Telegram group of whatever sort of formalized name we end up having. So this is something I want to be ongoing, and I can actually see this sort of having, you know, little cell groups in the end, that just little support groups, literally like AA and stuff like that. So it's just, we need to support groups like that to support this, because that's what I just would have died if I had to do that on my own. These parents and, you know, single mothers and fathers that are going through this, that's what kills you. Like, really, these parents should be allowed to go in and just cry and weep in at DCP. But if you go in and show any emotion, meeting terminated, no, you're too emotional, and they just want to shut down the meetings. You're not allowed to show any emotion. Like, to hold that amount of emotion back, after they've just taken your child, they're counting on you stuffing up. So let's teach you techniques so that you can go in there and defeat DCP on every level. I've been a mental health nurse for 30 years. I've got a lot of techniques and they work, as you can see.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Well, the truth is what sets us and our children free. So that's what we need to be doing now. Just getting together, talking truth, empowering ourselves and each other, and supporting, you know, our families, you know, that have been targeted and victimized, and working together to sort this out. So yeah, come and join us and have a chat and we'll work it out together.
Yeah, let's do it. We the people, we can work it out.
Thank you, Donna.
Thanks, Solly. Thanks, everyone. We'd love to see you in the chat room.